Welcome back to another episode in our Coach Confessionals series. Lee Bergen, I have so much fun doing these Coach Confessionals. It's like a highlight
I
of
do
my
too.
week.
Same. It's not therapy, but it's really close.
Literally. So one thing that we've been doing is reflecting on the previous episode. Our previous
Mhm.
episode is actually a guest episode with JJ Virgin, OG of the
Yes.
fitness industry. So you and I both appreciate and love her and have for years. But before we dive
Yes.
into that, I want to hear how things are going with your nutrition and fitness goals because it is March. Hard to believe.
Yeah.
It's March. We're
Yeah.
we're midway through March at this point. How are things going in 2024, friend?
Well, they're going pretty well. It's interesting because whatever I've done in the past has allowed me to kind of be where I am right now. This week has been a little bit of a zoo. I'm staying with my kid's dad in an hour and a half commute every day to work. So they eat dinner at 10:30 at night. And I wake up at 4 to work out. So I've been having a real hard time this spring break. But again, if I didn't have so much success in the past, I'd be freaking out right now. So right now I'm just enjoying the moment. I have recommitted to starting next week, which I didn't really realize this was going to be spring break, but just starting next week, like OG faster way. I've lost a ton of muscle. So I'm ready to just bring it back and
Yeah.
build. I'm looking really forward to supersets. I love our community going through those right now. So I'm pumped.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. You are in a particular season and you have
Hmm.
built such a foundation leading up to this season
Hmm.
that you've been able to say, I'm going to focus on breath work. I'm going to focus on healing. I'm going to focus on becoming more stress
Yes.
effective. I'm going to focus on family. Even this week,
Yes.
I'm, with my family that, family comes first. So I really appreciate that. And I know that you are going to crush it once you do go back to OG faster way,
Hmm.
cycle workouts.
Yeah.
You're going
Yep.
to gain your strength back, your muscle back so stinking fast. And the thing is, like, if anyone was looking at you right now, like we could see just a little tiny bit of you, like you still have an amazing amount of muscle for someone who's 50. I mean, just
Hmm.
incredible. But
Hmm.
you have the wiggle room to say, okay,
Hmm.
2023 was a life-changing
A
year. I'm
learning year.
gonna it was a tough year. And I think you
Yeah.
giving yourself permission to pull back a little bit on outside stress like workouts, like, fill in the
Hmm.
blank and say, I'm just gonna kind of do a different routine through this time. I'm so
Right.
inspired. We've talked about it on the podcast. You have hours in the morning to yourself where you do your quiet time, you do your breath work.
Hmm.
And I think, Lee, that's perfect for you for the season that you were in. And it was winter. Like we could talk about this on the
Hmm.
podcast sometime. There are certain seasons where maybe we don't
Yes.
go quite as hard and we say, hey, based on what's going on in my life, based on the season of the year, maybe I'm not going to go quite, maybe
Hmm.
spring, summer, I'm going to like really ramp it. I think you like
Totally.
absolutely listen to your body. You listen to what was best for you in this season, just based on, things happening in your life. And I appreciate your vulnerability because there's someone listening right now who can 100% relate to you. And you just gave them permission to say, I'm going to focus on
Mm.
quiet time. I'm going to focus on breath work. I'm going to focus on prayer. I'm going to focus on walking. I'm going to focus on
Hmm.
vitamin D. And I'm not going to
Hmm.
crush it in the gym every day because
Hmm.
I'm not in a place to do that.
Right. And, I'm laughing because I appreciate you saying that, Amanda, and like affirming this kind of behavior because it's new. It's such a great contrast to your nature with 5 kids running $1 million business, multi-million-dollar business, to having 2 homes, across an ocean. Like you have all of those things. And when you dial it in, your crushability is like really none other that I've seen. So I think there is a little bit of a yin and yang. And like, when you're like, okay, have I given myself too much grace? And now it's time for grit.
Yeah.
You really have a great way of dialing that in. And that inspires me too. because I think a lot of people give themselves so much grace, it almost turns into grease as they're sliding down the slip and slide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was grace and it turned into grease. But yeah, let me. Okay, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So here's the deal: I am in a season of grit and dialing it in and really going
Yeah.
next level. But let me like reflect on some of the past seasons over the
Yeah.
12 plus years of. So yes, right now I am more on point than I have
Hmm.
been in about 12 years. Okay. I am in Costa Rica on spring break right now. When I tell you I am on pointly, I am hitting my protein macro minimums, I am lifting heavy. I literally did the total body workout a couple days ago. My hamstrings, I have never been so like I'm picking up heavier weight. I'm more
I love it.
confident than I've been in years because I'm building muscle, I'm going hard, I'm
Yeah.
sleeping,
Yeah.
better. Here's the deal, like I remember seasons right when I was ramping up faster way. Okay, let's
Hmm.
talk about it. 6, 7, 8 year, probably
Hmm.
5, 6, 7 years ago. There were some extremely stressful seasons where I wasn't as stress effective. Even when I was up in Ohio, I
Hmm.
remember literally months at a time where I'm programming all of these fantastic gym workouts, at home workouts for my clients. And you know what I'm doing? I am so stressed, Lee. The best I could possibly do is a 15 to 20-minute jog per day
Mm.
for literally there was like a 3-month period that I mean things were just were growing, things are exploding, but it was so stressful. I'm just putting out fires, solving problems that I'm out there doing a 15 to 20-minute jog. And from the standpoint of stress, that was all I could handle. And I was like, I
Mhm.
know if I go to the gym and I grind, that's going to be too much
Mhm.
stress on my body right now. And
Mhm.
so I had to really, and I'm like, am I a fraud? I'm telling my clients to do X, Y, Z,
Right.
ABC.
Right.
I'm not sprinting. I'm not lifting.
Right.
All I can do is a 15 to 20-minute. And that was more out of survival to clear my
Yes.
head for 15 minutes a day. It wasn't
Mhm.
even like about having a workout. So it's like if you're listening and you are in a season, and it could be a variety of things. Plenty of people in our community, relationship tragedies, health struggles, family members with health struggle. There's so many different things. And so there might be a day where it's like, okay, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 3 months. But then, like you said, Lee, it's like we have to balance stress and rest, but we also have to
Mm.
know when to say, I'm going to
Yes.
transition from listening to my body, give myself grace to, okay, now, just like you're
Yep.
like, next week,
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
going back, I'm dialing it back
I'm
in and
going.
my body's
Yep.
ready.
Yep.
Sometimes when I take time off, even like postpartum, it's like then I have all this energy built up
I'm
where
like
it's like,
itchy. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just sitting here crying all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
why is this energy?
yep.
It's like the energy has to get out. And the only place it can come out is either like laughing or crying. I look like I'm a psychopath and that's okay. That's
Laughing,
okay.
crying,
But
or
it's that
crushing
energy.
a weight workout. Like it's laughing, crying, or
Yes,
crushing it. Yep.
that's coming. That's
Yeah.
coming. That's coming.
Yeah. But yeah,
I appreciate that. And you said the seasons, it's 12 years that you have not worked out this hard and this effective. And so you've got a 12 pack now. I've seen it. Okay. And you can't eat enough. The more that
right.
you are trading, I've heard you say like, I just can't get full because your body is craving all that nutrition and you're giving it to it. And it's just really fun to watch. And like you said, you learned this, and this is a confession, probably by accident. And I learned this by accident until I was pushed down. I didn't know what being down was. And so when I learned how to get up, that ground becomes a lot more buoyant. There's a lot more buoyancy, I guess. I can pop back up a lot faster. And that's that stress effectiveness that you're speaking of. And the Aura Ring now also has this new place, this new button that measures your resilience, which is interesting. It's like, how quickly am I bouncing back?
Yeah.
So check it out on your ring. But that's what we're looking for. You're going to always be down. There's something that's always going to knock you down, but
Yeah.
it's how fast can you get back up and how can you be a
Yeah.
resistance
Yeah.
to it?
There will
Yeah.
be seasons. But again, if you're listening,
Hmm.
we want to give you permission to do what Lee
Yes.
has done because it is the best for her in this season. It is absolutely, what she should have done instead of just pushing through, pushing through, pushing through,
Hmm.
pushing through. Like give yourself a moment. Or maybe you're listening and you're like, man, yeah, I've kind of been like coasting. Everything's good at home, work's good. Like, listen to me, guys. Dial it in
Ride the
2024.
downhill.
If
Yes.
you are like, yeah, I've been kind of like, I haven't been kind of challenging my, like, it is also okay to say, like, starting Monday, today, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
next level, baby. Like, let's
Yep.
go. So tell me, when did you first hear about JJ Virgin, who happens to be a very close, faster way friend and our neighbor in Tampa Bay, right next to
Well,
HQ? So,
yeah. Yeah. She's actually in my city, right, in Dunedin. And I just, unfortunately, she's been in the office and I haven't had a chance to meet her. So I first learned about JJ when I stopped teaching high school and began personal training, because there were a lot of fitness. Billy Blanks was my trainer, right? So I'm doing Taibo. Like had to go out to California. I had to do these. There was nobody local, and he also wasn't a woman. So I was just looking for something a little bit edgy, I guess, something a little bit more advanced. And so I found JJ through, I think she might have been actually the first audio book I got as well. So
Mhm.
it's been about 15 years maybe when I found her. I think it was the first audiobook. There were two that I got. One was about sugar and one was 7 pounds in 7 days. And it was really helping me learn more about food. So as a personal trainer, I knew mechanics. I was a dancer too. I could do bodies all day long, but it was the nutrition that I was looking for. And so she was just such an enlightening person. She had such a great way of speaking, and she made things really, no pun intended on this, digestible. So I really enjoyed listening to her. So that really helped me once I became a personal trainer to kind of lean into some of her strategies. And, then there's more, but
Yeah.
you haven't asked me more.
Yeah. I, for the life of me, cannot remember when I heard about JJ Virgin, which means it was probably like 20 years ago. Like, it was
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
when I entered
I
into
mean, well,
the
you're probably in
industry.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly
Yeah.
think it was probably like, yeah, high school, college. Now, I met her a few years ago. And so, we've
Hmm.
gotten to know each other as colleagues and friends. But JJ is OG personal training. She was one of the very first
Yeah.
trainers out there in Berkeley, California. Mark Sisson,
Yep.
JJ, Shalene
Yes.
Johnson. And
Yes.
she's just been such a supporter and a friend of Faster Way. But the reason that we had her on the podcast last week was not to talk about health and wellness. It was actually to talk about how to scale a business. And so
Hmm.
here's the deal. If you are listening and you are a Faster Way coach, absolutely be sure that you listen to that episode. You got to go back, you got to listen.
100%.
Literally, JJ goes, if you want to have a 7-figure business in the health and wellness field, which by the way is $1 million business, she goes, do these 3 things. She goes, I've proven it over and over. I follow the data. Success leaves cues. She goes, you want to have a 7-figure business, do these 3 things.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
JJ is part of our Millionaire Masterclass. We have a really exciting initiative that
Mhm.
we are launching actually this week, called Millionaire Masterclass for health and wellness professionals who want to scale a business online. So we're talking Faster Way coaches, of course, personal trainers, nutritionists, naturopathic doctors, health coaches, chiropractors. If you are a health and wellness
Yeah.
professional and you're like, man, I'm in a brick and mortar, I'm seeing patients day in and day out, I'm trading dollars for hours, and I really want to scale my impact. I want to have a
Mhm.
bigger impact. This masterclass is for you. And I'm telling you guys,
Mhm.
the value is outstanding. Like, I
It's
cannot overemphasize this. I can't
right.
I mean, it's incredible.
It's incredible. And, and I'll take it to another level here too with JJ. And again, your lineup is it's so funny that you align yourself with people that are my age. That just shows your wisdom. I'm
Oh,
sorry, but there are a lot of people that are your age who are trying to do something new without listening to people who have been in the industry. And to
yeah,
me, that is a massive step in humility for you who are you do have created a business model that no one else has,
yeah.
but you're still leaning into the wisdom from other people who have been there, done that, made the mistakes. And I love that. And so, everybody knows, or if you don't know this, I joined the Faster Way to prove it wrong, because I really wanted to debunk it. I didn't know what it was, but I was not impressed. And again, Amanda, you know, I love you more than anything. I was not impressed with Amanda's age. I was like, she doesn't know. She's just, you know, half my age. She doesn't know these things, but she did. So when I opened up my first week of the Faster Way, I was like, who taught this woman these things? So I started to research like who you aligned yourself with, because reputation matters to me. All right. Longevity in this industry and reputation matters to me, because people who have actually taught clients and worked with clients, they're the ones that have the most wisdom.
Yeah.
So when I saw JJ was aligned with you, that like, I got goosebumps right now. I've had this conversation with you 27 times. As soon as I saw her aligned with you, I was like, okay, now that gave you credibility. Okay. Fast forward. Now I've been with you for 5 years. The circle that you surround yourself with is so impressive. And I didn't know what JJ knew about business. I was leaning into her about nutrition.
Yeah.
But when I listened to you guys speak about what she did to make those 7 figures, it was interesting because I used to be a Faster Way coach. I was number 3 on that leaderboard. Like, I had a very successful business for 1 year, and I literally was able to check every single thing that she said off of my list without even knowing that's how she did it. So the instinct comes along with the wisdom, comes along with the application. And what she said, I was like, yep, done that. Yep. I just could not agree with her more. So it is so valuable for anybody who has a chance to take their fitness business, wellness business, any kind of entrepreneurship that really does require the grind. Don't you want to work smarter, not harder, and lean into these professionals? So it
Yeah.
was fantastic. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. I so appreciate your perspective. And it's funny because I'm pretty sure I was 30 when I started the
Mm.
Faster Way as a test program. I mean, I am like, love, baby. I was literally 30, you know, because I'm 37 now. So I'm
Wow.
like 29 going on 30 probably when I started.
Yeah, you're kind of like, you're like a little Yoda. My son too. I was like, you're 3 years old, but you're 40. So, you know, you have always been a little bit ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's true. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Faster Way has aged up a little bit. And I think part of it
Mhm.
is like, some of the older ladies, it is like, okay, now we trust you, because we've seen there's been a little bit of longevity here. But for me, the people I respect the most are the people like JJ, like Shalene, like
Mhm.
Natalie, who have been
Mhm.
at this for decades and decades. Because I have other colleagues. I had a colleague in my office the other week, and they go, yeah, you know, every business has its run. Everybody, you just got to, you know, ride the wave. And I'm like, or you could
Mhm.
build to last, or
Right.
you can research the Disneys of the world, or
Yeah.
you could look at the companies that have been around for 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, and do some reverse engineering. What is it about that brand?
Yeah.
Or we could be the next Weight Watchers. Let's talk about how long they've been. So it's like I can align myself with people who say everything has its run. It's 8 years, it's 10 years, and
Mhm.
like, yeah, you know, and it's like that's the narrative that they abide by in their category.
Right.
And so they are just,
Right.
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's like, yeah, I can't
Yeah.
actually talk to you about that because I
Mhm.
disagree. My
Right.
goal is decades and decades and decades of success.
Generations.
The
Yes.
biggest, most successful companies reverse engineer and say, we are here for the next 100 years. What needs to be true in order to make that a reality? So, you know, for me,
Yeah.
JJ is a great person to align with because she just
Mm.
is, you know, look at her on the corner, making small tweaks and
Yeah.
iterations, which is what I consistently do. Let me look around the corner. What's going to help this brand be alive and thriving for the next 50 years,
Mhm.
100 years? It's
Mhm.
leaning into the new tools,
Mhm.
AI, personalization, customization.
Mhm.
It's doing this, it's doing that. But the core remains the same from the standpoint of
Yes.
values and strategies.
Yeah.
But it's like, I specifically have looked to align with people who have been around for a while because you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Listen, if I spend the time
Uh,
with someone who's been here for 35 years, even though they're
it
double my age, it's just better. It's better.
It it is just so impressive. And we talked about this a few weeks ago too on another podcast is why are we working so hard to retire? Let's just work hard to create that. Let's sprint through the finish line, not stop at it. And in order to do that, you do have to ride the wave of innovation. You have to ride the wave of new science and new technology. And if you are not willing to learn those things and go to those things, then yes, just like you said, you will fulfill your own prophecy of stopping and starting over and stopping and starting over and never going anywhere. And you're laying this roadmap. And I think, and I'm just going to say this too. And, age is a thing. And I never ever want to insult you when I talk about your age, because I am so enamored with how wise you are. So when you are surrounding yourself with these people and JJ's 10 years older than me. All right. So Shailene's older than me and Natalie's older than me. I always thought I was like the grandma here, but these women are older than you and are older than me. They want to be with you. That to me is what pumps me up, because they're seeing the value in you to help them continue what it is they started in this business for in the first place.
Yeah.
And that was to create a whole different mindset around fitness and nutrition. So I love that. I just think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
So again, if you are listening, if you are a faster weight coach, a trainer, a chiropractor, fill in the blank, we would love to have you in the Millionaire Masterclass. It is only $199. Let's just be
That's
clear.
hilarious. Hold on. I can't.
I know. So we should be charging, just based on the amount of time I've invested in this, we should be charging many, many thousands of dollars. And the value creation for your business. I mean, you guys, we're not sharing cheap tips. I will say that every session I say, okay, here, we want to share this with the audience. The 3 secrets for going viral. And we're not saying all the cheap stuff. Just be consistent. Just do this. Just no.
Right.
It is.
Right.
And then not only are we doing this session and we're sharing the actual steps to be successful, we're then saying, okay, now we're going to give you very specific action items that we want you to complete right now during the masterclass. And then we will give those to you to continue doing as weekly deliverables. And, again, JJ, you want to have a 7-figure business in the wellness space? Do these 3 things. That was one of 8, 9, 10 sessions where we say, you want to be successful? Here's what you do. And so, for me, and you guys have heard me say it, but I'll just say it again as we close. I'm extremely passionate about empowering millions and millions of people all over the world to transform their lives physically. No question. In addition to that, I am equally as passionate about eradicating poverty for women and men in the wellness category, because I 15 years ago was grinding morning, noon, and night, for $28,000 a year. I never saw my baby. I could not put food on the table for my family with $28,000 annually. So I felt the pain. And now that we cracked the code, for the very first time ever, I want to share with the masses, because I've spoken on plenty of stages, but share with the masses the secrets to success. So that is what we're doing. We're so pumped about it. Millionaire Masterclass. I'm sure we can put the link in the show notes, or you can look me up on social media and that link. But Lee, it's going to be fun. So fun.
It's going to be super fun. And I will say this last thing about just the value. So because JJ is so well known, and the people that I used to train in my hometown, they were high end clients. And so one of them actually texted me, I don't know, maybe a month ago. And she goes, I see JJ's in your circle. And I was like, sorta. If I could grab her ankles when she walks in the building, she goes, I want to work with her. She goes, I think she's $1,000 an hour. She goes, how do you get me in with her?
Oh,
and I was like,
gosh.
Oh, I'm not going to try, but $1,000 an hour just to talk to JJ, and your entire lineup. So I just want to, again, you guys, the value of what you're about to get is this masterclass that is, there hasn't been one like it. So Amanda, I appreciate you taking the time and hanging out with me and talking about this, because it's really fun. There's a lot to look forward to this year.
Yes. All right, everyone. We hope you have a great rest of the week. Go crush your goals or do breath work with Lee, whatever you want to do. Bye, everyone.